He escaped war with nothing but fear in his pocket and went on to build the chip that powers your phone today. This is how a Jewish refugee with a thick accent, no money, and zero connections quietly changed the future of technology forever. This isn't just a story about business. It's about survival, betrayal, and a genius who built a billion-dollar empire from rock bottom. This is the untold journey of Andy Grove, the man who went from hiding in a Budapest basement to founding Intel and shaping the digital world we live in. Hungary, 1944. The streets were silent except for the occasional echo of marching boots. Andy Grove was only 8 years old when Nazi soldiers took over his city. His Jewish family was marked for death. They went into hiding, crammed into a tiny Budapest apartment with fake names and false papers. His father was taken to a labor camp. Andy and his mother barely survived, moving home to home, hiding under floorboards when soldiers knocked. Every knock on the door felt like death itself, Grove would later say. When the war ended, he had survived, but the trauma? It stayed. Fast forward to 1956. Andy is now 20. The Soviets have invaded Hungary. Protesters are being gunned down in the streets. Once again, Grove is forced to run. He escapes across the border, alone, scared, and with just $20 in his pocket. He boards a ship to America. He doesn't know anyone. He doesn't speak English. But he's determined to start over. What would you do if you had to rebuild your life from scratch in a foreign country? Let me know in the comments. In the US, Andy works night shifts as a busboy to fund his education. He studies chemical engineering, pushing himself harder than anyone else. He knows he doesn't have a safety net. And by age 32, he lands a job at a tiny tech startup, Fairchild Semiconductor. But Andy is no ordinary engineer. He's precise, relentless, always asking what's next. Then in 1968, a young engineer named Gordon Moore, yes, that Moore from Moore's Law, wants to start his own company. He calls Andy. Do you want to build something revolutionary? Andy says yes. That company, Intel. And Andy isn't just a co-founder, he becomes the engine behind its rise. By the 1980s, Intel is struggling. The Japanese chip makers are dominating the market. Intel is bleeding money. The board is panicking. Andy stands up and says something radical. Let's quit making memory chips. Let's focus on microprocessors. Everyone thinks he's crazy. Intel was built on memory chips, but Andy has a vision. He sees the future in computers, in central processing units, in CPUs, and he's willing to bet the company on it. Would you risk everything on one big bet or play it safe? Drop your thoughts below. His gamble pays off. Intel becomes the brain of the personal computer revolution. With IBM, Dell, and eventually Apple all running on Intel chips, the company becomes a global tech giant. By 1997, Andy Grove is named Time Magazine's Man of the Year. Why? Because in an era where computers were still boxy and boring, Andy made them smarter, faster, and everywhere. But here's the part people don't talk about. Andy never forgot what it felt like to be powerless. He gave away hundreds of millions in donations to Parkinson's research, tech education, and refugee causes. He said, "Only the paranoid survive." But he also knew that paranoia without purpose meant nothing. His entire life, running from bullets, starting over, betting it all, taught him this. You can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't chase money, chase meaning. Have you ever made a decision driven more by survival than ambition? Share your story in the comments. You never know who might relate. Andy Grove's life is proof that no matter how dark your beginnings, you can still create light for millions. If his journey moved you, hit that like button, subscribe for more real finance stories, and share your thoughts below. Who knows, your story could be next.